Welcome back, guys. Day 26 of the pull-up progression. So today I decided to change things up just a little bit and move away from my original plan. So that's actually a big change, not a small change, but whatever. The original goal was to do 30 sets of 2 reps with 30 kilograms. So a total of 60 repetitions. I know. 30 sets, that's a lot of sets. I get it. And a lot of you, or some of you, might be thinking, but that's junk volume. But I disagree. I've mentioned this many times. True junk volume does not exist. And by doing a whole lot of sets, I get stronger. And the reason why I do 30 sets, or the reason why I do so many sets with a particular range of repetitions, is because one, the goal right now isn't actually to get, stronger or to build muscle. The goal is to build tendon resilience. The goal is to get my body acclimated to this weight. The goal is to build a usable amount of training volume to increase maximal recoverable volume so that I can keep getting stronger. And also by doing 30 sets of 2, it makes it so much easier to do sets of 3, sets of 4, sets of 5, so forth. For example, when I was doing pull-ups of 20 kilograms, I started off by doing sets of 2. I never recorded my earlier sessions with 20 kilograms. I only started recording it when I was doing sets of 5. But the point is, I started with 30 sets of 2. I built up to a point where I was doing 30 sets of 2 with 20 kilograms. And because I got to that point, I was able to jump straight to doing sets of 5 reps, right? Because after doing 30 sets of 2, I was able to do 20 sets of 3 and then 10 sets of 4. So obviously, I might as well just jump straight to 5 sets of 5. Although I'm planning on doing things a little bit differently with 30 kilograms because, heavier weight, harder to progress, you know how it is. But anyway, that was the original plan. I was supposed to do 30 sets of 2 today. Unfortunately, life just decided to get in the way. You see, last week I came down with the flu, and I ended up taking a full week off from training. And the problem is that before making such a big jump in volume, because the last session that I did, I was only doing 20 sets, right? That's all I was doing. And before I jump from 20 sets to 30 sets, I want to make sure I'd accumulated enough training at the lower volume first. Otherwise, I would simply just be asking for another injury. And yeah, I've already had too many injuries over the years. I did not want to get injured again. So the plan was to complete at least 6 sessions at 20 sets before increasing the volume, but I only managed 4 because I got sick. And I've been sick for a week, and there's absolutely just no way I'm going to do 20 sets again. No, I can't do that. And on top of that, I've also been increasing the volume on my 70 kilogram barbell rows. So there was just no way I was going to dramatically increase the workload for both exercises at the same time when I haven't trained the previous volume nearly enough and got my body used to that lower volume yet. Okay, because I was going to end up getting injured. I was just not going to take that chance, guys. So instead of doing 30 sets of 2, I decided to do 13 sets of 3. That basically keeps the total volume pretty much identical. 20 sets of 2 is 40 reps, while 13 sets of 3 comes out to 39 reps. So it's basically the same amount of work. It's just I'm doing all those repetitions, all that volume in a shorter time frame, as opposed to doing 60 repetitions. Yeah. But anyway, I'm not gonna lie. A week off definitely made me feel weaker. Before getting sick, I wasn't just doing 20 sets of 2. I'd usually start the workout with several sets of 3, taking only 30 seconds of rest between each set. I even stayed standing next to the pull-up bar so I wouldn't accidentally rest longer than planned. And before the break, I was managing around 7 or 8 sets of 3 with that rest period. After a week away from training, though, I knew that wasn't going to happen. So I increased my rest periods to 45 seconds between sets, and this time I actually sat down during my rest because, 45 seconds is a decent amount of time to allow you to just sit down and chill. Even though I timed 45 seconds on my phone, though, realistically, it was probably a little longer by the time I stood back up and got into that position. And that extra recovery made a big difference. I managed 10 sets of 3 before I had to increase my rest time for the final 3 sets. But overall, I'm happy with how the session went. I was also a little nervous because of my costochondritis. If you guys watched day 25 of the plant progression, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I recently flared up my sternum. Costochondritis is inflammation of the cartilage around the sternum, and it can affect a lot of upper body exercises, including the pull up. You see, 3 years ago, it actually stopped me from doing pull ups altogether. And thing is, when I got costochondritis, I was doing pull ups with this very weight, with 30 kilograms. So I wasn't sure how today's session was going to go. But thankfully, I was able to complete the workout. There was a little discomfort, probably around 3 out of 10. But as the workout went on, as I kept on doing more sets, the pain gradually disappeared. And that just gives me some confidence because it's following a very similar pattern to my previous tendon injury. As you guys know, a few weeks ago, I irritated the tendon around my armpit by not controlling the eccentric of my pull ups. I adjusted my training, gradually built the volume back up, and eventually the pain disappeared completely. So I'm hoping my costochondritis follows the same pattern. But for now, I'll keep listening to my body, keep progressing gradually, and hopefully be back to full training soon. But anyway, that's all I've got for today, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.